Welcome to 30 Minutes of Madness. It's your girl, Millie Maddness, right here on QVC TV 22. And I'm here with a really special guest who happens to be the president of the Hispanic Leadership Summit, which is a premier event of New Jersey Hispanic leaders. Without further ado, welcome, Angel Fuentes.
I am really blessed. I thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
I look forward to the conversation. Yes.
Oh,
thank you.
We're so honored to have you on our show.
Thank you very much.
So, Angel, tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell the audience about who you are, because you're pretty big in this community.
I won't say that big. Yeah, probably in South Jersey. My name again, Angel Fuentes. Born in Puerto Rico. Grew up in New York, Brooklyn. Yeah.
All right. Brooklyn.
I'm a Mets fan. You know, thanks to my fifth grade teacher who took us to the stadium, and not only just to the stadium, but to see the game. And ever since, I became a strong and even with passion when it comes to the Mets. So sorry, you know, for those Phillies. But if they make it to the playoff, you can rest assured that I'll support them. So, but yeah, and then from there, you know, my mom was going through some issues with my dad, domestic violence, unfortunately. And so my uncle, God rest his soul, decided to go to Brooklyn and said to his sister, listen, you and your children will be coming with me, and you live with me in Camden, New Jersey. And so that's what happened. We you know, thanks to him, he provided shelter, food, and you know, I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School in Camden, New Jersey. Then I was accepted at Scranton University. I was there for the summer. When I came home, I was accepted at St. John Vianney College in Miami, Florida. So I just couldn't help, you know, the cold versus the beach, I guess, right? And so it you know, going to the south, down to Florida, Miami, and that's where I got my degree in philosophy, a minor in Spanish as well as in theology. And then I came back, you know, and in Kansas City, we didn't have too much of activities for our kids. So I decided, you know, to get involved. I worked with a couple of my friends, and we reestablished the Creme Hill Little League Baseball. We started off with 90 kids. The second year, it got to over 400 kids.
Oh, wow. So
you could just imagine us trying to find sponsors to, you know, not charge too much, because a lot of parents were going through hardship, financial hardship. And so we would ask just $25, and then we would provide for the uniforms, equipment, you know, paying for the umpires and things like that. So that somehow got me involved in the community, where a lot of the parents said, you know, you got to represent us. And I'm like, I'm here as you know, president of the Creme Hill Little League. He said, no, we're talking about City Hall. Wow. And I didn't really get it. But as they start to talk and said, no, we need for you to run for city council, to be our voice. And really, that's really what happened. I then got involved because of them, the residents. And, you know, I ran during the primary, I won. Then the general election, I won. That's like going back to 23 years ago. And I was council president for 10 years. And then I decided in 2009 to run for state assembly to represent the 5th district. And sure enough, I was supported by the party, and I ran. In the primary, I won, even in the general election, to represent 19 municipalities in Camden County and Gloucester County. So that was a challenge, you know, because from local, as an elected official, and now to a state. And I can tell you that I was there for 3 terms. I had about 17, 18 bills signed by I happen to be Democrat, but by a Republican governor. To have 17 bills signed, and many of them are very effective throughout the state, but more so South Jersey when it comes to economic development, you know, and throughout its region. So I feel good that I've done something about the public safety, helping to transform the local police to the metro police or the county police. We have some new schools, thanks to, as the author of the Urban Hope Act. And I supported then Senator Donald Norcross, now who's a congressman, the Economic Opportunity Act, providing a lot of resources to the city and its region. And that's me. I worked for Cooper Hospital for 19 years as patient relations. Now I'm the deputy clerk for Camden County Clerk's Office, pushing for vote by mail. And we have been very strong throughout the state. We had, I think, over 35,000 last year, back in November. And people are really getting to know. It's like, well, yeah, I like this. If they, like a police officer who probably is working to 7 o'clock, but then at the end gets, an accident with somebody, not with somebody, but to do a report, and he or she is there to about 9:30. It's like, I didn't have time to vote, but if I had known about vote by mail, things like that. So that's Angel Fuentes, that's me.
Yes.
And I like what I do. I like helping people, this whole notion of helping, and that's always been in me since childhood. And I think I've learned that through my mom, her sacrifices and her love, raising the 6 of us. We are really blessed, Millie. I have a brother who's the mayor of Woodland. I have another brother who happens to be a councilman. I have a brother who's a police officer. No one actually expected so much because of my mom. It was her who raised us. She never remarried. She never would go out with anyone. Actually, there was one, when I was 10 years old, I recall, I brought a mail. I spoke to this mailman, dropping off the mail, and I said, are you single? And he says, yeah, right. I swear to you, Millie, I took him directly to my mom. She was cooking in the kitchen. And so I wanted to introduce him to my mom, because I felt sorry. She's always, single, raising us, sacrificing, going and working in these, factories. And I go, Ma, mira, ¿quién está aquí? Ma, look who's here. The moment she looked, she started screaming. The poor mailman just panicked and he started running out of the house. And then she's like, don't you ever bring. I said, Ma, but I don't want to see you lonely. He says, no. And she always say, because she's so religious, she would say, listen, Jesus is my husband. He's my Lord, but he's my husband. He's going to take care of not only me, but us as well. And that always sort of instilled in me, and that's where the whole notion of public service, not at the time, but service, helping anyone who's really struggling, suffering. I'm always out there trying to provide resources, and that's what I've learned as elected official. That's what I've learned as, with the Camden Hill Little League Baseball, and that's what I've learned, as a state assemblyman, and it's really something of giving back, to the community, and so like my mom will always say, in the New Testament in the Bible, love your God and love your neighbors, and that's those two elements I think. Is what I have in me that I like to do, to really help others, to empower others, and it's a good feeling knowing that, and I feel strongly that maybe that's why I was blessed. Even my whole family, we really love to give, and I think it gives us 100% of satisfaction. That I probably not get the big thank you here, but I hope and pray that in heaven I'll get the big thank you. Yes, that's me.
Wow, yeah. What a powerful story.
Thank you.
Wow, that is very impressive and amazing, very noble and honorable.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, what inspired you to begin the Hispanic Leadership Summit?
Sure, that's a good question, Millie. Throughout my years as an elected official, I've seen Latinos, really struggling with trying to find the right answers, or if not resources, and or even just to have a voice, not just in the household, but in the community, or even the state level. And there were issues affecting them, and no one was actually addressing those concerns or issues adequately, I should say. Really it would give some small solutions, but not really the complete solution. and where, you know, you say, okay, great, I'm doing okay, but then, you know, they sort of stop. So I met with a couple great people and said, we got to do something, you know, that we can really get the attention of the Latino throughout the state of New Jersey, not just, you know, in Camden City or Camden County, but throughout the state of New Jersey. And so I had some great people, you know, we sort of like a think tank, if you will, and there we strategize how this is going to come about. And out of that, we decided to have an annual conference, providing some great workshops and symposiums, really to empower the Latino base, you know, to get more involved. We're going to provide you all what you need, but don't stop there. You know, just let's continue that process, and also, you know, celebrate our culture. I'm a strong believer. I know you're into entertainment.
Yes.
I'm a strong believer that you know, we have to get to the gift of our culture. I think by understanding fully and completely the gifts, you know, of our culture. I happen to be Puerto Rican, you know, and to learn about, you know, the music, spirituality, you know, values, principles, the heritage, you know, that somewhat empowers me, you know, and I'm saying to myself, wow, if we can show our young people, because we had a lot, you know, dropouts, teen pregnancy, you know, really teenagers without fathers, you know, joining gangs, and I said, you know, we got to really retrain, you know, our young people. Let them learn about our culture. Let them learn about self-identity. And then eventually, this whole level of maturity, responsibility will sink in. And sure enough, that's what's been happening this 8 years of the Hispanic Leadership Conference. So we work with high school students, college students, people from all walks of life. It could be an educator, an engineer, a lawyer, you know, social workers, everybody, even grassroots, civic leaders, elected officials, you know, to come together at a table and to say, this is what's happening. You need to address these issues, not just for the young people, but also, you know, the adults who you know, talking about unemployment, you know, housing, education. And so we wanted just to make sure that we are here for a purpose in this life. We can remain as poor, or we can remain resourceful, you know, to better ourselves and holding people accountable, you know. So no matter what walks of life, if it's just, you know, the principal of a school, or it could be the an elected official, or it could be anyone, to say, I want to hold you accountable. You know, I'm not afraid of you. You are a person just like me, you know. And so I demand, you know, if I'm a taxpayer, I'm paying your salary, I demand, you know, service or services. So I think that in itself, when we put together the Hispanic Summit, with those workshops, Millie, workshop, we're talking about, it could be immigration, with what's happening right now, from the state level to the federal level, and DACA, you know, students who just are not U.S. citizens, but have been going to the school system and have a tough time, you know, when it's time to go to college. I can tell you that I've known students who ranked #1 in high school, and when they were undocumented, and then when they got to college, you know, paying $20,000 in 1 year instead of paying $12,000, it made it a hardship. You know, knowing that, wow, we have great, bright minds of students in the state of New Jersey. So we made that as a big issue. You know, education. We believe that everyone deserves a quality education, no matter what age, even those who, you know, need their GED or high school diploma. And we want to help. We want to empower and to know that we are here for that. Yeah. So good things came out of the Hispanic Summit. Yes.
Yes, I had the honor and pleasure of going to the Hispanic Summit last year, and it was so empowering and impressive. It was truly amazing. It was broken up into sessions, and The morning session was great. It was kind of like meet and greet. It was a great author and story, and we learned so much from that. It was great networking.
That's
it was
correct.
so wonderful to see so many beautiful, amazing, and talented Hispanic members come together and join in the morning, and then it kind of broke out into an evening thing where it was also really amazing and culturally empowering and inspiring when you saw so many different nationalities all together in one room, and everybody had flags and they were raising, and you see just everyone together in such a beautiful harmony mix. It was just so impressive, and I have to say I was truly impressed and left very empowered. And
I think you had a lot of fun as
I
well.
had
You
too much fun.
yes,
I
yes.
was on the dance floor, the
We even
music,
danced.
we
That's right.
danced. It was great. We took pictures. We honored so many members that were receiving awards that
That
day.
is correct.
We celebrated. It was truly an amazing experience, not only for
appreciate that.
myself, but for many people that I had the pleasure of speaking to, and just the look on everybody's faces, you can tell that it was just a very amazing event for everyone, and
good.
I hope that it goes on forever.
It will, and that is the whole purpose, Millie. The fact that we talked about diversity. It's not just one nationality. There's a saying that with this diversity, there's strength, and I think people from all walks of life, not just people from Central South America, but you also had, people, Anglos, African American folks, really coming together to say, we are here to support the Latino community, and we want to make sure that they sit at the table, with stakeholders, and address those issues. We had a powerful keynote speaker, a person that, thank God he's alive, because he was an undercover cop for 10 years. There's videos of him and Pablo Escobar talking to each other. There's things that, he really got big. At the end of the day, I don't want to say too much because there's a book, Loco in the Badland, if anyone wants to read that, or soon there'll be a movie about him. He's right now in negotiations with Hollywood, with Dr. Phil's production and the Paramount production. But he, at the end of the day, risking his life, he was able to turn in $2.1 billion of cocaine and another $2 billion worth of assets. And within a few hours, the FBI, the CIA, the Attorney General got to him and said, we got to get you out of this country. We just learned that there's a $10 million hit on you. And so he and his son had to go. Now imagine that. Not even his mother, his siblings, or anyone, not even knowing of their whereabouts, the father and son. Because again, it was a safety issue. If he were to be with his mom, I can tell you that the drug lords will find out and kill his mom, things like that. So for him to share that story, to be with us last year, was very powerful, and we are very grateful for his service as a law enforcement. And he's trying to make some changes in Washington, D.C. to protect law enforcement once they go undercover. But I can tell you that this year, we have a phenomenal keynote speaker as well. So David Lopez. David Lopez actually is from New Jersey. He's the dean, I forget what field, but works for Rutgers University. This man was appointed by President Obama and confirmed by the U.S. Senate to represent those who have been treated unfairly when it comes to social injustice, when it comes to civil rights. And I heard so much about him. And I have to thank Jonathan Diego, who happens to be an attorney. He's also on the board of directors, who reached out to him. And he agreed. He's going to be our keynote speaker. So I hope you'll be there as well to join us, to hear him. Because a lot of Latinos, they get discriminated. There's some racial issues. just like, the African American, and we're here to support the African American, and I can tell you that the African American community support us as well, particularly the NAACP, and we're there to support them as well. So, and he's going to really sort of re-energize us, to say, you know what, aquí se acaba. It ends here. I'm going to stand up, and I know my rights, as a person, here in the United States, either documented or undocumented. I know my rights, and not only that, but we are all children of God, So we do have some haters out there. God bless them. Hey,
We love the haters.
Yeah, So eventually,
they are motivators.
Yeah, maybe they're not gonna catch up, but I can assure them, and if they're listening, your children will embrace us. How's that?
He's starting trouble.
Yeah, that's my nickname. It's like Maddness.
Yes. I was just saying your last author, his name was Loco, and I was like, oh, nice to meet you, I'm Maddness.
All right, maybe the two of you.
Maddness and Loco in the same room. It was
that could be a part two.
Yes, the sequel. So, Angel, tell me, what kind of advice can you give our Hispanic Latinos in our community to kind of for them to just an empowering advice for them?
Yeah. I can tell you that many Latinos that from, not Puerto Ricans have access, to coming to the United States, and but they too have dreams, But those that are from Central or South America, I'm talking about the Dominican Republic, Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Panama, that they come here for a purpose. They have dreams. They want what's best, not only for themselves, but for their children. And more so, to say, I left my parents, and I want to find some refuge. I want to find something good that I can send back to them, And to say that those dreams will never die unless you die, that you change direction. And so we through the Hispanic Summit, we try to bring them back, to the that full realization, that purpose as to why they came here. And the United States is a great country, the American dream, and we can learn so much, we can do so much. There's job opportunities, and if you do things right, eventually, to citizenship. That's one. Two, the young people, either first or second, even third generation, they lose sight. Perhaps parents are overwhelmed, but it happened to me too. Not understanding fully my culture, to say, philosophically, who am I as a person, right? So for the young people, it's good to really take a step back, talk to your parents. Say, talk to me about what is it being Puerto Rican, what is it being Mexican, what is it being Dominican or Cuban, and so on and so forth. What is it? Share me that gift, that will empower them. And I've noticed that, once we had like a 9-week leadership and cultural identification program, we've noticed that a lot of young people, from 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, would eventually, graduate. And I could tell you of beautiful stories of people who really made it big as engineers, as attorneys, as educators, social workers, who are out there because they've taken the training. And all because it doesn't have to be the training, the program or the leadership program or the cultural identification program, but it's really about enséñame, teach me, to love myself through my culture, and I can give back. And I think if we collectively not be afraid to talk to someone, about your culture, to how has it your experience been, share something about your culture, that helps to empower you. That really takes you to another level where you get to appreciate not only yourself, to love yourself, and to be honest about yourself. Even about having a relationship with others, and to say, wow, I feel good, and I want to continue my education. And I always tell people, there's a saying that the more successful you are, actually, the more educated you are, the more successful you'll be. So I would like to say, the more educated you are, the more money you get.
Yeah.
Right? See, that's the whole purpose. Yes.
That's great.
Thank you.
And I need people to know more about you, where to find you, where can people find you? Please tell us.
Absolutely. Again, I'm from Camden City, City Council at Large. I'm also the Deputy Clerk for Camden County Clerk's Office. But I'll be at the Hispanic Summit, which is going to take place on a Saturday, October the 19th. We'll be there all day and all night. But if you just want to come for the conference, to take advantage of the workshops, to take advantage of the symposium, also we're giving away up to $5,000 to 5 students in scholarship. So that's something that we feel like we really want to empower them to continue their education, higher education. So we'll be there the 19th at Glassboro, Rowan University, the Chamberlain Student Center, 201 Mullica Hill Road. That's the address. And then the gala, we're going to be honoring 14 outstanding people that really deserve, to be honored. They have really shared their love, their sacrifices, their leadership, their compassion, to the entire community, particularly the Latino community. Yes. And so they really embrace them, and we're going to honor them. And then, and I hope that people will come and join us. They can visit at our website, www.hispanicleadershipnj.com. Please come and join us. They can register there. It's very affordable. The conference is just $35, I believe, with continental breakfast, lunch. There will be over 30 informational booths, if you will. And, symposium is very powerful. We're going to talk about the opiates problem that's killing our young people. And we want to really, help parents understand and address the issue with if it's the kids. This is not just an inner city issue. This is also in the suburbs, and we have had thousands and thousands of young people dying, and people not really addressing this issue of opiates. It's really, really killing our young people. So we have some great speakers to talk about that. We have workshops that's going to talk about human trafficking, talking about how to open up a business, issues with immigration, understanding your rights. And the DACA education, they have rights. So some great workshops, and I hope that to Millie will come and join us on the 19th of October, on Saturday, and visit that website, www.hispanicleadershipnj.com. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was
such a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
What a powerful show. Yes. Full of information, a wealth of information. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Again, support. Check out the website. Check out the Hispanic Leadership Summit. It is quite something amazing for you to experience. So I hope to see you guys there. Again, thank you for joining us on 30 Minutes of Madness. It's your girl, Millie Maddness, here on QVC TV 22, signing out. Peace.